Hello, this is Swapnil and my topic is using Twitter geolocation data for travel pattern analysis of residents in tourists. So, recognition of travel patterns is very necessary for policymakers and transport planners for developing and assessing long-term plans for a city. Household survey have been established sources of database for inputs for such travel pattern and demand models. Various variation of these surveys such as complementing them with phone, mail, or internet have become prevalent in transportation researches. But implementation of these type of method is expensive and consumes significant amount of time. On the other hand, transportation researches are also conducted using big data where active participation of user is not necessary. One of such big data is location-based social media. So, the increasing use of social media platforms on smartphones has given opportunities to collect digital footprints of individual travel activities. This thesis would provide a methodological process to capture and interpret location-based social media data using data analytical methods to explain individual destination choices. So, what exactly is location-based social media? In simple words, the social networks that uses GPS features to locate you and even allows you to broadcast your location while posting is location-based social networks. The problem is not all social network data are available, and if they are available, they don't have rich information which can be transformed. Twitter is a potential data source as it is available through simple web scraping and has a wide range of information within each post. It defines its platform as what's happening in the world and what people are talking about right now. According to its Quarter 1 financial reports, it has a daily active user base of 186 million. Its quarter-to-quarter user base is increasing, and the main takeaway is that our country, India, is having third highest user base in the world. So this hands us with a significant amount of data to analyze for other big data sources. Now, for literature review, I found that Twitter data is being used in two types of researches. One is where text and linguistic techniques were used to analyze the text of the tweet. Second, to get the spatial pattern of that person by geotag tweets. What exactly geotag tweet mean? There is location marked from where the tweet was done. So this one is where the text was used. What Kennedy did was he used the tags to understand a representative views of landmarks from the data of Flickr. He used k-means algorithm and found out that users' point of interest can be known from geospatial photography patterns. Maghrebi used similar text mining and linguistic techniques on the Twitter data to find travel activity location, type, and time. What he found was social media text analysis techniques can only be used to complement household survey and it cannot completely replace them. The other researches which include an spatial temporal analysis of tweets, that is geotag tweets where man can lie. What he did was he used a heuristic classification technique to classify residents and tourists of the city. His main objective was to find urban mobility pattern of tourists. He classified the users by duration of time spent by user within the boundary of the city based on user location to classify users as residents and tourists. Zen used DB scan and Markov chain model to analyze tourist regions of attraction. Hasnath created an ensemble classifier to classify people into tourists and residents and created a destination choice modeling of user based on those geotag tweets. The aim of this research is to develop big data framework for assessing activity pattern of Twitter users. To attain this, the first objective would be to develop data pool for destination assessment of residents of a city. And the second objective would be to assess activity pattern. So the main part of the methodology is the data collection. So for data collection, it was a two-phase data collection. First of all, I had to stream tweets within a area for about a month to see which type of users are geolocating active and uh, to get the tweets within the area. For this, I used Twitter's streaming API and Megmala Cloud Services and found out the streaming tweets within study area. I cleaned them and extracted a list of usernames with active geolocation, pulled out last historical tweets of uh, and by extracting this list, I then used Twitter's REST API to pull out historical tweets of users filtered in previous step. I cleaned the coordinates to be in workable format. First analysis that had to be done was heuristic classifier. So what heuristic classifier did? The heuristic classifier first of all collected coordinates of users from his historical tweets. Then filter out tweets only between 12 am to 6 am. Why only this time frame? Because people tend to stay in their home place at night, not at their workplace or anything else. So I selected the tweets that were from 12 am to 6 am, then found out the number of coordinates within the city border and outside the city border using geodata frame. If the number of coordinates inside the border of a city were more, I classified the user as resident. If less, I classified the user as. The second part of methodology is location clustering. Why location clustering? To see frequently visited spots by tourists and residents. The spots nearer to the center of cluster extracted would represent the popular spots which are visited by classified residents and tourists. For this, I used k-means, dbscan, and meanshift results. So my study area was Delhi, and I included also NCR region because most of the people working in this area are not tourists. So I went on with the NCR region also. So this was a four-phase data collection, as I divided the month in four phases to collect the data. As for To confirm that users are geolocation active, I kept a threshold of two minimum number of two tweets per phase and rejected all the tweets below that. So the results of the classification heuristic classifier were of the all screen name retrieved, it was not possible to retrieve previous tweets from 58 accounts. The reason for this being the account was private or was not available. The heuristic classifier gave a precision of 76% when compared with ground truth values. So this is how I done the validation. Here is the screen name, for example, Puja aesthetic. The classification given by my algorithm was resident. The user has given his location as New Delhi, so both of them match and the verification is given as 1. Similarly, for uh, Pratikram, my classifier classified him as tourist, but he had given his location as Delhi, so verification 0. My classifier gave a false result. Now for clustering. In the k-means clustering, you have to use elbow curve to find out optimum number of clusters. Here, I found that the number of clusters were nearly about 10 to 12, and I went with number of clusters as 12 and found the clustering results. These were the clustering results after I applied k-means to it. What I did then, I took the cluster center of each cluster, located its street addresses, and went on to see the nearby landmarks on Google Maps API to see what kind of places were being visited by the tourists to this city. Of the 10 uh, the cluster centers, here are the nearby landmarks that are being visited frequently by tourists. I did similar analysis on DBScan using DBScan clustering. This is the reduced set and full data set of the points. You can see that this uh, dot with a circle is the cluster center and other are just point. I did similar analysis and found out the street address of that point and found out nearby landmarks. Found the cluster centers of DBScan and K-means. What I did was I brought them to Google Earth to see what is the spread around the city of New Delhi. As I told, I had also included CR region in the analysis. So for DBScan, the spread is like this. Most of the tweets are not centered around the main Delhi and New Delhi area. If we could see for K-means, we can see that most of the tweets and cluster centers are from the Delhi and New Delhi area, and very are few from the other region. So my remaining work plan is to use third clustering technique, i.e. mean shift, and do the analysis. Compare which of them is better clustering algorithm by using some uh, coefficients. Then assess individual travel patterns of residents by looking at type of location which are being visited by them, like recreational, entertainment, restaurant, etc.